Hi, everyone. My thingy is crooked. Let me try to fix that. Ouch. Oh my goodness. Why is it crooked like that? Hi, Septina, honey. Can you hear me? Sorry, it's crooked. It's because my table is on the rug. Is that better? Yeah, that's kind of better. You can hear? Okay. Let me move this over here. Hey, hey, hey. Hi, Heather. I'm trying to fix my... Can you guys bear with me for a second? I'm going to move the webcam because my table is on the rug in a crooked way and I want to fix it so it's not all crooked like this. So hold on. You're going to get to look at my ceiling for a while. That's my ceiling fan. All right, let me fix this. It's hard for me to do this right now. And Septina knows, but I'll tell you why after. This is very difficult for me to maneuver at the moment. Ouch. Oh, that hurts. Okay. Oh, oh, oh. Okay, hold on. All right, let's see if that's a little better. The thing about going live on YouTube like this is they don't let you look at it first through the webcam unless I'm mistaken. So you can't fix it properly. Okay. Okay, fire's there? Okay. I think I'm crooked, but okay, so that's, I feel a little far away. Don't you think, guys? I'm a little far away. I have to get back into the swing of things. Oh my God, this is so hard on my finger. Okay. Okay, that's a little better. And I'm going to move this closer. There we go. There we go. Okay. All right. Because I want to be able to see the chat and I don't have my glasses. So boom. There we go. Okay. I covered it up so you can't see the mangledness, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so my gals are here. Hi, Septina. Thank you. I know you need to nap, but thank you for being here. And thank you for being here, Heather. And thank you for being here, Nick. Thank you so much, Nick. Nick has the day off today, sort of, with how many? 60 kids and 50 million farm animals. You have the day off, kind of. So she said she could spend it with us here on Gratitude Hour. And Hannah's here. Hi, Hannah. I haven't seen you in ages. Oh, my goodness. Is it a day off, Nick? Well, she starts full time again tomorrow. Yeah, Hannah's here. No H, right? Hannah at the end? Hanna, I think, if I remember. No barking, Ali Faye. No barking. There are a lot of people up here this weekend, and there are a lot of quads going by, so the dogs are on alert. Ali Faye. Ali Faye. That's for you, Heather. So, my friends, welcome to Gratitude Hour. Thank you for being here on the live stream, and thank you to those watching on the replay. This is a safe space where we can have a friendly chat and we can discuss subjects of struggles and challenges and life, good and bad. And we are so grateful for everything that's been given to us in our lives, and we appreciate all of our blessings. So this is it, Gratitude Hour. Thank you for being here. Yes, Hannah, I kind of remember that. I used to have a list of everybody's handle, I guess, their YouTube handle and their name next to it. And it's somewhere back there. And I don't remember all of this stuff now. No barking, Ali Faye. So how shall we start Gratitude Hour? I wanted to start it with something kind of interesting. I want to talk a little bit about kindness, but first I'd like you to do something. I'd like you to just sit back, sit back and quietly relax your body. And you can close your eyes or you can keep them open while I speak. I put together a nice calming visual for those who want to keep their eyes open, and I'm going to share that screen right now. We ask that you bear with us. I hope this works well. I'm going to share a screen, so it'll go black for a second. Okay, so I'm going to speak. So if you want to close your eyes, or if you want to just listen to my words and look at the beautiful visual in front of you, I'd like you to just take a few deep breaths first. We'll do some box breathing. You take in a deep inhale, hold it at the top for a bit, and then exhale very slowly. And you can do that 2 or 3 times. So I'm going to do that now. So I'd like you to think of this past week. In your interactions with other people, were there any situations where other people showed you kindness or people didn't show you kindness? Were there situations where maybe you treated people impatiently and dismissively? Maybe you treated someone in an abrupt way. Maybe you weren't so nice to someone. How did you treat yourself? Did you treat yourself with kindness? If you made a mistake, did you beat yourself up with negative self-talk? Or maybe you didn't keep a promise to yourself that was so important and you let yourself down. Were you able to treat yourself with kindness? Think about other people and how they treated you. Was there an instance where somebody did treat you with kindness? Why don't you think about that for a few moments? Just think about all of the instances in the last week where there was kindness in your life, either people treating you with kindness or you treating others with kindness, or you treated yourself with kindness. And also on the darker side, maybe you weren't so kind to yourself or others, or maybe others weren't so kind to you. So just think about that for just a moment. So, my friends, if you had your eyes closed, why don't you open them up now slowly? And if you want to share in the chat any thoughts that you had, go ahead. Please go ahead. I'm going to share something with you about kindness. Now, I had an accident on Wednesday last. I need a sip. Hold on. For those of you who haven't seen this before, these are my former dogs. You guys remember Jack, my hound dog? I can only use one hand, so that's Jack. And that was Marlene. And that was my husky girl, Charlie. Isn't that a nice mug? I love it. Okay. So last Wednesday, I had an accident. Something very heavy fell on my left hand and shattered my index finger. It was fractured in 3 places: the upper knuckle, the middle knuckle, and the little bone in between. I covered it up. This is not the dressing. Like the original dressing, you can see everything. It's awful. And when it happened, I screamed in pain, and then I guess the adrenaline took over, and I ran inside, and I heard the crack. I knew it was broken, but there was so much blood, and I ran inside, and I rinsed it, and I put a paper towel on it, and then I put a face cloth over it to try to contain, to put pressure on the bleeding. I started to feel faint, and I called 911 because I was terrified, and they transferred me to an emergency responder who was so kind to me. I might get emotional as I recount this. I am already. Whew. She stayed on the phone with me for half an hour because the ambulance was 45 minutes away, and I was afraid that I was going to faint. And she was kind enough to stay on the phone with me, but she did say to me, um, if I get, if there's, I can stay on the phone with you for as long as I can, but if there's a call, I have to leave immediately and take it, and I will tell you right away, that's my cue, and then I will have to hang up. And I said, okay, thank you. So she stayed on with me for 35 minutes. And those last 10 minutes waiting for the ambulance, oh my gosh, those were very long minutes. I was terrified. And there was blood everywhere. And so her name was Chantal. I asked her. So she was kind to me, very kind to me. And then the ambulance showed up. I asked her to ask them not to put the sirens and the lights on because, I live in a very small community and I don't want everybody to know my business. So they showed up, and it was actually the same ambulance technicians who showed up last May when Alex took his life. And so I knew I was in good hands because they were very kind people. And they came in and they said, "How are you, Rain? And how are you doing?" And this and that. And um, I learned something new. They took my vitals. I didn't know what vitals were. It's the temperature. They poked my finger for my blood sugar, and they took my blood pressure. And they said that everything was normal. The blood pressure was kind of high, but it was normal given the circumstances. So the woman technician was typing in data, and the male technician came down, and he started to unwrap my tourniquet. And I looked away because I couldn't look, because I had seen the bone come through. I could not look. So he opened it up, and it started to really hurt at that point. And he said, "Okay, it's definitely broken. You're definitely going to need stitches." And he said, "We can drive you there, but an ambulance costs $135 to go to the hospital." He said, "It's up to you. We're happy to do it." He said, "It's a non-emergency situation in the respects of an ambulance, report." And he looked me in the eye and he said, "Rain, you're a tough cookie. You've been through hell. Your vitals are good. Your color is good. The bleeding is still happening, but it's not life-threatening. I think you can drive yourself to the hospital." So he gave me that confidence that I could drive myself because I was terrified that I was going to faint along the way. So I said, "Okay, thank you." And I remember his name was Dawn. I don't remember her name. And so re, he put a bandage over it, and he said, "Okay, we're going to follow you, but we have to take a turn off. So if you keep going, we know that you're okay, and we'll just take our turn off." So they were actually willing to follow me along. But before we left, they were so kind, and they're dog lovers. So all the dogs came out, most of them. Raven is terrified of people, so she stayed in the back. And they were playing with the dogs. Dawn was playing with the dogs while the lady came back. I was only in my PJs. And the lady came back into my bedroom and she helped me get dressed. I was so embarrassed. She kept saying, "There's no judgment here. Don't worry. This is what we do. Don't worry." She helped me completely get dressed. And he was putting the dogs in the cages and giving them water and things like that. And they were just being so wonderful. And so he put the fire out. He closed the damper and he started, playing with the fire. And then he got me a glass of water. He said, "Drink some water, and then you get in the car and we'll follow you." So that's what happened. I got to the hospital around noon that day, and they took me right away to assess what was going on. And again, I was still not looking at my finger because I didn't think I could handle it. And so they said, "Yeah, you're definitely going to need an x-ray and sutures and things like that." So this was at noon. They brought me to what was called the observation room. And there were 6 beds in there, separated by curtains. And when I lived in Quebec, you didn't get to go into an observation room. You sat in the stinky old waiting room for 8 hours. They brought me to a bed where I could lay back, and they propped my hand up and they put a little pillow under it. They gave me these warm blankets. They took my boots off and my coat off, and they put my purse next to me. They took my phone out, because you're allowed to play with your phone while you're waiting. And so they brought these blankets that must have just come out of the dryer, and they put them on my legs and around my back. They gave me some water, and they're like, "What can we do for you to make you more comfortable?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. This has never happened to me before." And they told me, they said, "We have some emergencies that came in, and there are only 2 resident doctors for emergency here. It may be a long wait, but we're going to come and check on you whenever we can." So um, I sat there and I was like this, like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, This might take a long time." And so once in a while, a nurse would come in and ask me how I am. And then one of them came in and she cleaned it up with saline solution. I didn't even feel it. My finger was in pain, but numb at the same time. I can't even describe that. And then they brought me to X-ray. And I remember the X-ray technician, she's like, "I can't believe your nail polish didn't chip." That's what she said. I mean, look, girls, look, you can't see this one, but this one did not chip. And we had a laugh. And she said, "I was admiring your nails. They're so beautiful." So we had a little chat about nail polish while she was doing you know, the X-ray. And she was kind to me. And so, they brought me back. They wanted to wheelchair me back. And I'm like, "No, no, I can walk." So I walked back to the bed. And as I'm walking back, you can't help it. You look at the other people, right? And so I'm looking at all the other people. And so I get to my bed and I got the blankets back on. And then here's another act of kindness. I mean, I contacted a few of my good friends, and they were with me the whole time. Like at home, um, at the hospital, in the waiting room, whenever they could, they would text me, and they were kind. This was from the heart, kind from the heart. These beautiful people that I call my beautiful friends. And they kept me company because I'm getting emotional again. um, I was angry at Alex because he should have been there with me to comfort me and to be with me as my loved one, right? So I was pissed off at him for abandoning me. So all of those feelings were coming up that I wasn't expecting. And my friends were there to help me through it, and I'm so grateful for them. So, whew, I sat there until about 5:30, and throughout the afternoon, I was kind of going in between playing crosswords on my phone and texting with my friends who were there. And I have to say, eavesdropping on what everyone else's condition were. And I felt like a little baby compared to some of the things that I heard. But you can't help it. You're in a little room. You're going to hear it, right? So finally at 5:30, there was an ambulance technician who came in, and he said, "I know you've been waiting a long time, but the doctor should be here in the next half hour to look at you. He's seen your x-rays, but we had some more emergencies come in." And I said, "It's okay. I understand, the more urgent things have to be taken care of first, right?" And so he came in a couple of times because he saw me crying, and he came over and he held me and rubbed my shoulder and stuff like that. And he said, Everything's going to be okay. We're going to take good care of you." And it was just wonderful. It was a wonderful experience considering the trauma and the pain and the shock. So at about 6 o'clock, the doctor came in, and, we started talking, and he looked at my finger, and he said he evaluated it, and there was a nurse holding me, and the ambulance technician was in front. I forget what they called him. He was a medic in training, but not to be a medical doctor, but to learn how to do things in an emergency situation when he responds to somebody's home. So he was there to learn how to do sutures, and I happened to be the example that day. So he stuck around to watch and learn how to make sutures in a finger. So he was very nice, and he told me all about this. And we made a few jokes about, there was a Seinfeld episode where George is following someone in a rage because he thinks they gave him the finger. And then when he catches up to the guy, the guy shows his hand, and he had his hand in a cast, and his finger was like this because his middle finger was broken. So when I was actually, this happened when I was driving myself to the hospital, the ambulance technicians told me to hold my finger up to keep the blood flow down, to keep the pain not as bad. So I was holding my hand up while I was driving, and I got a lot of funny looks from drivers. And I thought of that Seinfeld episode, they think I'm giving them the finger. So I was trying to joke about this, and I told his name was Josh. I told Josh about this, and he knew what I meant, and he started laughing so hard. He's like, "Oh my God, I remember that episode." So we were joking around a little bit, because this is what I do when I'm really stressed out and uncomfortable. I cry, and then I make jokes and I laugh. And so we were laughing when the doctor came in, and the doctor's like, "Oh, well, I guess you don't need me." And, it was all just, he was trying to lighten things up a little bit. So as he was looking at my finger, he started humming Purple Rain. was just, we all started giggling because it was just so goofy. He said, "I can't help it. I thought your first name was Francis and your last name was Rain. So I was thinking Francis Rain, Francis Rain." So like we were laughing about it. And then he gave me the news, and I need a sip. Hold on. Whew, I need a breath here. Okay. So then he told me the down and dirty. He's like, "Okay, you fractured both of your knuckles, the top and the middle. The bone in between is fractured. It's completely dislocated." And I knew that because I remember seeing it crooked, like a crooked branch, like it was pointing that way. And so he's like, "Here's what we're going to have to do. We have to freeze your finger." And he told me, he's like, "It's going to be painful. We have to freeze it." Okay, I'll show you here. A needle goes in here, a needle goes in here, and one goes across this way. And guys, you can see my bruising here, and on this side too. And I'm bruised on this hand too, because they had to put an IV drip into me with antibiotics because they didn't want the bone to get infected. So he said, "I'm going to give you that. It's called a ring of something, the ring of something," he called it. It hurt like hell. I felt the first two, but not the third, thankfully. And then he said, "What we have to do is we have to reset your bones and then suture you up." And in the end, there were 18 stitches. I think that's what he said. I told you that, Septina, there were 18 stitches, but now I'm remembering it might have been 8. I don't remember. I'm going to have to see when they take the bandage off. But 8 is enough. Like the TV show. Do you guys remember that? Oh God, I'm old. Anyway, so he told me that, and he said, "We're going to put an IV drip into you. We're going to give you a tetanus shot. And if you want, we'll give you an Ativan. That's a tranquilizer." And I said, "No, because I have to drive myself home." And he's like, "Okay, so are you ready?" And so I started crying because I was afraid of the pain. So the nurse put her arms around me, and she said, "Just look at me, and I'll tell you, I'll go 3, 2, 1 when he's about to put the needle in." So that's what she did. Oh my God. I saw white. I was like, "I can't take this." She's like, "It's okay. It's okay. It's almost over, almost over, almost over." So they did the second one, 3, 2, 1, boom. The third one, I didn't feel it go in. I heard them reset the bones though. That was like, oh. And then he started, he was doing small talk, but he was also telling Josh what to do in this situation. And he was showing him what to do. So he finally finished, and I looked over at my finger, and he used blue thread, and I said, "Oh my God, do you have to make me look like Frankenstein's monster?" And they all started laughing, and he's like, "No, you don't look like Frankenstein's monster. These are going to come out." And I'm like, "Oh my God, but blue doesn't match with green." And I'm still trying to make my stupid little jokes, right? So then they told me, "We're going to send you to another x-ray to make sure that the bone was set properly. Then we'll wrap it and put a splint on it." I have a splint on the bottom to keep it straight. So we did the x-ray. In the meantime, he called a plastic surgeon. He emailed him an x-ray, and then he emailed the second x-ray, because I have to go see a plastic surgeon this week, because he might have to put a pin in the finger because the bones are quite shattered. And so it took another half hour for him and the plastic surgeon to confer. And then he came back in and he said, "Okay, we can wrap you up now. And the plastic surgeon will call you in the next 2 days, and you'll go see him, and he'll follow up on this treatment." So what they did was they put Vaseline on the stitches, and apparently this keeps it nice and clean. And then he wrapped it up, and then he put a splint on the bottom, and then he wrapped it up again. But this tip of my finger here on this finger kept going in towards my middle finger. It kept just going on its own. Like it wouldn't stay straight. It wanted to keep going. And he said that happens a lot when limbs are dislocated, especially the ends of the digits. They just kind of flip over. And so he had to get two other people come in. The ambulance technician came back in to hold it on one side while he was wrapping it. And then the nurse had to hold the bottom splint on while he was wrapping it. It was quite an ordeal. But he finally got it all wrapped up. And he said, okay, I'm going to give you a prescription for antibiotics. When you get home, take Tylenol and Advil and all this stuff. I only had Tylenol at home, so I had to go back the next day. So I figured it was already close to 7 o'clock at this point, and I had to get home to the dogs. So I figured I'll go back to town tomorrow. I'll pick up Advil. I'll pick up my antibiotics because I didn't want to wait another hour at the pharmacy, and I didn't want to drive at night because I'm not good at driving at night, especially with all the critters around here. So I drove home. I got home, and that's when the pain started because I had to take the 5 dogs out. Unfortunately, I had taken all the linen off my bed in the morning with the idea of doing laundry. My bed was bare. I had to make my bed with one hand. It was unbelievable. All I wanted to do was go to sleep. I just wanted to go to sleep. So I took 3 Tylenols that night and I went to bed, but I didn't sleep very well because of the pain. And constantly moving it hurt. And it's even hurting today, but it's more hurting where the stitches are. So this week I'm going to see the plastic surgeon, which is all covered by Medicare, by the way, and I'm going to see what's going to happen. But you see, from the moment that this happened, the emergency responder on the phone, the ambulance technicians, the nurses, the ambulance technician at the hospital, the doctor, they were all so kind to me. And this was like one of my other friends, one of her relatives was in the hospital recently, and she was telling me tales of these rude nurses and not being able to get any information. And what a difference. I don't know if it's the maritime people. They're so kind here and nice and friendly, but I had a completely different experience than she did. And I'm just so grateful for all of that kindness. And it's really hard working with one hand. I usually have my arm in a splint because I want to make sure I don't use the hand at all. But sometimes I have to. Like I couldn't even get the top off the antibiotic box thing. I had to like hold it here, and then it was just, oh my God, it was something. So there's my tale of woe. I hope I'm not, bent up for too long. So I'm just going back in the chat. Check out the chat. All right, hold on. I am so thirsty. Is my fire still going? I may have to get up and stoke it, guys. Can you give me a second? I gotta stoke the fire or feed it. I'm just gonna go feed the fire. Ouch. Everybody stay, guys. Stay there, Benny. I have to get a piece of wood, so I'll be right back, guys. All right. I took the opportunity to wipe my nose from all the crying. Okay, this is gonna hurt. Okay. Anytime I move my fingers, it's like this I can move like this, but I can't This one cannot move, can't touch this. And I don't want to touch my thumb either unless I'm just using it lightly with my pinky finger to help me. But anytime I move, it hurts like hell. And the worst is zipping up. Like my coat has a zipper, my hoodie's zipper. I'm going to challenge you guys. If you're wearing a hoodie right now, unzip it and try to zip it up with one hand. It's almost impossible. Not pants, those are easy, but you know, a top with a zipper, oh my God, that's really difficult. Septina says, I'm grateful for my kind dentist who helped me this week and consoled me when I cried. Oh, Septina, that's so wonderful that she consoled you. You have a lot going on. Hannah said, that made me cry a bit. Lots of kindness last week. You're talking about at the beginning. Yeah. It's overwhelming when we think about it. If we actually sit down and think of all the kindness from, you know, that happened to us, it's easy to focus on the bad stuff, you know, like me. I'm focusing on the fact that I basically took a sledgehammer to my hand. I'll tell you what I did. I have this thing called the kindling cracker. You probably can't see it in the background. No, it's behind there. It's basically this cast iron thing. It's got a blade on it and it's round on the top. You put your wood on it and you take a sledgehammer and you just bang it down and it breaks the log and you can make small little bits of kindling with it. I've been using it for weeks now. And what happened was I wasn't wearing the proper gloves. I was wearing my winter gloves. What I think what happened, because it happened so fast, the gloves wool got caught on the wood and I was already coming down with the sledgehammer. And usually the motion is this: hold it, move, like that, like that. But my finger didn't move, sledgehammer. It was unbelievable. So yeah, this wood here is blood wood. Blood money, blood wood. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so concentrating on the nasty stuff that happened to me last week, I don't even want to go there because I could easily fall into the why me? Okay, I've been through so much. Just as things were going well for me, this had to put a stop in it, you know? This had to put a spoke in my wheels, but I'm not going to think that way because that's going to lead me down a really bad rabbit hole. So, thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you, Septina. And Heather says, we've been having an unhoused situation here in our park across our street. Started coming to a head yesterday. Some folks are scared for the safety of their kids, animals, including our safety. Unhoused situation. What does that mean? Homeless people? Oh, thank you, Heather. Yeah, it was rough. I know those heated blankets, say Septina. Oh, isn't that amazing? That felt so good. It's to comfort you, you know? Heather says, that warms my heart that there are still kind people. Yeah. And Heather and Nick are probably laughing at my nail polish humor. Yeah, Hannah, humor is very helpful. Oh, thank you, Hannah. Purple rain, purple rain. I should have had purple nails. I did this for St. Patrick's Day, which was the 17th. And this happened the next morning. So these are staying on for who knows how long. I couldn't take, they're press-ons, but I painted them green. So if I try to take the nail polish off, it might take part of the nail off. And I don't have the dexterity or the digits to put them back on. So they're staying on indefinitely. Oh, the 8 is enough, right, Septina? Yeah, I loved Willie Ames. Thank you for all of your beautiful words, friends. Hannah says, oh my goodness, now I think you could have ended even, yeah. What if I was using an axe? Holy guacamole. I could have chopped my finger off. In fact, I just remember it was so weird. Right after it happened, I screamed because it hurt. And then I said out loud, well, there goes that finger. And then I ran inside. It was just an automatic response. Well, there goes that finger. I really thought, I think I may have texted Nick right after it happened. And I said, I don't know if I'm going to lose the finger or not. Like I really thought, because I saw the bone and I saw how much blood there was. And I saw that the finger was this perpendicular. I was sure they were going to amputate my finger. You know, fear of the unknown. You have no idea what's happening. And I was thinking the worst. That's for sure. Nick says, Emmy, her 8-year-old, went into the gas station while we were in town last week to buy herself a drink. She came out and said, "Mom, the guy in there was so nice and so kind." She was so surprised. And I thought, how sad that she is so surprised by someone who is so nice. You'd think it should be norm for people to be kind when you go into a store. I agree. I totally agree. They should be kind. But okay, have you guys seen my video, The Ripple Effect? It's on the channel. I'm not saying go see it, but I was talking about the ripple effect and how when someone is kind, the ripple effect happens. It's like a chain reaction that you be kind to other people too. But if somebody was an a-hole to you, depending on how you're feeling and what your stamina is at the time, you could turn around and be an a-hole to someone else. So I always try to choose kindness in any situation if I can. I ain't no angel, but I try. Oh, okay. Heather says, yes, the proper word these days in town is you're supposed to say on house instead of homeless. Well, I can't be PC all the time. It's a bit too much for me sometimes. All these, why change what's working? Is homeless really that offensive? I don't know. Am I being a monster? And Hannah says, kindness should not be surprising. We will be appreciative anyway. Yeah, we shouldn't be surprised by it. Oh my goodness. So that's my big story, guys. That's my big story. But I do want to talk a little bit about kindness here. And I do have some notes that I put up on my computer so that I don't forget what I'm going to say. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I want to share another screen with you here. It'll be black for a second. Okay, this is a beautiful card. It's from the Whispers of Healing deck. Look at how beautiful that is. Oh my God. Francis Rain, Francis Rain. And he started singing that and everyone was humming along. It was so funny. It was so funny. So I wanted to show you this because first of all, I love the artistry on this. It's a wise old tree giving a little boy a flower, and the little boy looks so happy and so grateful, and he's so in awe of what he sees, right? And the look on the old tree man's face is filled with kindness. And you can tell that he's a kind tree because he has all of these little critters around him. Isn't that what we all want to strive for? You know, if you want to be more kind, it's make an effort to do something considerate, good, and loving every day, even if you're faced with a negative situation. I mean, look at these ambulance technicians, what they must see every day. And they're so kind, no matter what, and how aggravated people get. Like, okay, I'm going to tell you something, one of my not finer moments from last year, when the police and the coroner and the ambulance were here, when Alex took his life. The police officer who showed up, there were two of them, but one of them, I'd seen him before. He'd been here twice before when I called because Alex was threatening me. And he was threatening me in passive-aggressive ways, but it still made me feel unsafe. Oh, thank you, Septina. Have a good nap. Thank you so much for popping in. I really, really appreciate it. So I looked at the police officer, and I wasn't so kind. And I said, "You've been here before, haven't you?" And he said, "Yep." And I said, "You were here twice before when he threatened suicide and he was threatening me, weren't you?" And he just looked at me and went like that. And I said, "Well, was I lying?" And I walked inside, and I immediately felt like crap for saying that. You know, I was just so angry at the system that I took it out on a person. I was unkind to that police officer. And I went back out and I said, "Look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that." And he said, "Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry." You know, there was nothing that I could do. My hands were tied at that point because he said he didn't threaten it. And I said, "Yeah, I know. And I'm very sorry about that." And he's like, "Look, let's just take care of you and make sure you're okay." So he showed kindness, even though I was a biatch to him. Oh my God. Anyway, that's just an example. because I think kindness is a choice, and it's also a habit, you know? Once we start bringing more kindness into our lives by being kind to others and being kind to ourselves, it just becomes a habit. It's like a gratitude practice. If you say out loud every day all of the things that make you grateful, and you do it every day as a daily practice, it really becomes automatic. And after some time, I know it has for me, and I think it's the same with kindness. You know, I started my gratitude practice years ago, and every single day that's automatically, it just happens when I go outside with the dogs. The first thing I say is, "Thank you, Spirit, for this beautiful day. I'm so grateful for this, 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 this." And it's just automatic. So I think that kindness can become a habit as well. At least I hope so. You know, if we show appreciation to the people around us too, acknowledge the things that the people are doing and that these people are doing, and the wonderful things that people are saying, we can acknowledge that. Even acknowledge when a person is sharing with you that they're feeling good. You know, I have several friends who do that, you know. When I'm sharing good news with them, for example, this week, that I actually got the appointment with the plastic surgeon. They were so happy for me, and they acknowledged it, and they shared my happiness as well. And I believe that comes from kindness from the soul. I totally believe that. And when you share kindness with other people, like I said, ripple effect, they're more likely to share it with others too. So how can you be more kind? I think it really starts with being kind to yourself. We've all heard the saying, you can't take care of yourself. If you can't take care of yourself, how can you possibly take care of others? Or if you don't love yourself, how can you possibly love other people, right? The same goes for kindness. If you're not kind to yourself, how can you be kind to other people? So I'm just going to go check out the chat. So Septina's gone. Bye, Septina. Oh, thank you, Heather. Heather says, but you were going through so much, Rain. You were asking for help and you didn't get it. I don't think you were being a jerk. I just hope they take another case more seriously in the future. They won't. And here's why. If there is no physical sign of abuse, they can't do anything because they can't prove that the person threatened. Even if you have it on tape, they won't do anything. The the police officer told this to me, and so did a lawyer, a family lawyer told this to me one time when I consulted a family lawyer to find out how I can get out of this. And it's not the police officer's fault. They're following protocol. That's really their protocol. And unless the laws change, they can't do anything about it, even if they feel crappy about not being able to do anything. Like, I'm sure that police officer felt like he knew that something was going on. Why would I call? Right? Why would I call? So he knew something was up, but he couldn't do anything. But I remember them giving me the name of a woman who worked at a domestic abuse outreach program. And there's something called an emergency something order, emergency injunction order or something like that, that you could try to fill out and have the person removed from your home. And I did try to do that once, and the judge rejected me. So at that point, I remember going home and I said, "You win, you win. Nobody's going to help me. Treat me any way you want." And I just went into my room, and that was it. And things were good after that for about a year. He didn't treat me badly after that. So I thought maybe he had changed, but then his mental health challenges started getting worse and worse, and they were going untreated, and it was starting to get bad again. So anyway, I'm not here to talk about that, but Hannah says, aren't kindness and gratitude in relation? Yeah, I believe they are. I absolutely believe. Yeah, Heather says these laws need to be changed. Family law sucks. I don't know if it's just in Canada, but it sucks. And I know some people who have been through family law problems, some close people with regards to kids, and family law, it needs to be revamped. You have to hire a family law lawyer for things like this. You can't get free legal counsel. Family lawyers are a minimum retainer of $5,000 cash. I couldn't afford that. So I let him win, and I just figured something else out. But the laws are awful when it comes to family law here. Hannah says, yes, Heather, unless you are not hurt or even killed, they won't do anything. Sad and alarming. Well, all you have to do is watch some YouTube channels on true crime, and you see the escalation of abuse and how these women, for the most part, men can be, this can happen to men too. I'm not excluding men, but for the most part, it's women who are the victims of domestic abuse and death by domestic abuse, murder. And you see that these women had gone to the police prior to alert the police of the behavior. Call us when something real happens. Call us when he hits you. Well, by the time he hits you, it might be too late, you know? It's really awful. It's almost like you have to be your own vigilante. It's awful. And Nick says, yeah, I agree, Heather. They can't do anything until something actually happens. And I find that is the wrong approach. And Heather says it's criminal. It is, but that's the way it is. And I learned the hard way, and it discouraged me, and it made me feel like I was trapped, you know? Yeah, Nick says, I went to the police when our neighbor threatened my kids to shoot their dogs. They told me they can't do anything unless he actually shoots at the kids. Like what? Yeah, I remember when you told me that, Nick. That was shocking. That was ridiculously shocking. And the thing is, the police are the first ones in front of us, right? So we blame them, and it's not them, it's the law. Nick, Heather says, exactly what is happening here with the homeless, especially when they do drugs here, etc. Yeah. Call me when something violent happens. Yeah, thank you so much for protecting me. The law, not the police. I think these individuals outside of their uniforms would be very happy to help. But inside their uniforms, they know that they have to follow the law. They can't be vigilantes themselves either. So anyway, I'm going to share another screen with you. It's going to go black for just a moment. Okay. Because I want to give you some advice, if I can. I'm going to show you 8 ideas that you can implement for yourself to try to create more self-kindness in your everyday life. Because like I said before, I think kindness begins with the self. If you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone else. If you're not kind to yourself, how can you be kind to anyone else? So the first one is compliments. When you do something that makes you feel good about yourself or makes you feel proud, compliment yourself on it, on what you've done. If you have a friend who has accomplished something, what do? You compliment them on their success, so you should do the same for yourself. Number 2 is gratitude. Hannah, the link between kindness and gratitude. Take a moment each day to think of something that you're grateful for about yourself. It could be a talent that you have, a personal quality, or even an accomplishment. Gratitude can help you shift your focus from what you think you lack to the abundance that you already have in your life. And we all do have a lot of abundance when we really start to think about it. Number 3, speak with kindness. Pay attention to your inner dialogue. If you find your mind filled with negative self-talk, pause and try to reframe it to something more positive and compassionate. Instead of, I can't do this, try saying, I'm learning and I'm getting better at this. Regular practice can shift your inner dialogue to a more supportive and encouraging one, and that is self-kindness. Number 4 is reflection. Spend a few minutes at the end of each day reflecting on what went well. Recognize your efforts and the progress you've made, no matter how small they may seem. And like we did at the beginning of this live stream, think about the last week, the good and the bad, but try to focus on the kindness. And that's going to bring your energy up, you know? Number 5 is self-maintenance, and self-maintenance is the epitome of self-kindness, in my opinion. I think that in order to teach yourself to be kind to yourself, you have to first take care of your health, your physical, mental, and emotional, spiritual, financial health. When you take the time to take care of yourself, you're being extraordinarily kind to yourself. And in my case, I only really started to genuinely practice self-maintenance this year. I always took care of myself, but it was never a priority or it was never a regular activity. Now my number one priority is to be kind to myself with self-maintenance, though I had to put that on hold for digital reasons. Number 6 is goals. When you set goals for yourself and take action to achieve those goals, you're teaching yourself that your interests and your passions are a priority. And that's self-kindness. I love that. Number 7 is rest. Another one of the kindest things you can do to yourself is allow your body and your mind and your emotions to rest properly every day or every night, depending on your sleep schedule. Sleep restores our health, and it's so important. It's also a good idea to take a break from electronics. If you can get outside every day, this is going to promote relaxation and it's really going to reduce your stress. And that's you being kind to yourself. Number 8 is the B word, boundaries. Having a strong foundation of personal boundaries is a great act of self-kindness. If we're always putting everyone else's needs above our own, if we're unable to say no when we want to say no, we're not being kind to ourselves. So it's really important to develop these boundaries and enforce them when needed, despite the repercussions. So let me just unshare this. There we go. Oh, I have a dog that is dreaming, so we might hear some noises soon. Heather says, I said that to the officer yesterday. Does something have to happen to make safety changes? Yeah. It's really kind of scary, isn't it? You know, the law. It's almost like, I don't know. It's like the law isn't set up for victims unless something really bad happens to them. You know, even if you have proof, I started recording conversations and outrages, and that didn't make any difference at all. So, hey, Blackjack. Thanks for coming, Blackjack. Yeah. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. I think if they put a pin in it, I'm going to the plastic surgeon this week. If they put a pin in it, I don't think it's going to take as long to recover. But the problem is, like, I don't want to have surgery again. Those needles hurt so much. But I'm going to have to think about it, and I'm going to talk to the plastic surgeon. All the nurses were like, oh my God, he's the best plastic surgeon. You're lucky. That's the one you're going to see, and this and that. And when I called, actually, the message on the answering machine said, we do not receive calls. We receive referrals from the hospital, and we will call you based on the urgency after, his name is Dr. Maxwell. After Dr. Maxwell sees the x-ray, he will determine how urgent your case is. In a lot of cases, there is a 3 to 4 year wait. And what's going through my head is, oh my God, do I have to wear this for 4 years? How am I going to knead bread? How am I going to zip up my zipper? Oh my God, little things like that. Oh, trying to get the cap off of the medicine jar. I think I mentioned this before. It was nearly impossible. I nearly called my neighbor to help me. That's crazy. Oh my God. Welcome. Thank you for coming, Blackjack. Yeah, Heather, puppy dreams. Well, she's just sleeping. They're all sleeping, actually. No chasing rabbits in their sleep. So you would buy, okay, Blackjack says, I would buy a small electric wood splitter. I have one and it works great. Okay, I bought a wood splitter. It's like a hydraulic one. I invested in that at the same time as I bought the kindling cracker. But I start all of my fires with kindling, and the wood splitter doesn't split them small enough. I have a very small wood stove, so they have to be very thin, and I really have to pile them up in order to get the fire going. So when I saw this kindling cracker, I was like, yes, I'm going to get this. The ambulance technician told me he has one too. You have to go by, Raven? Okay, hold on. Come this way. Go this way. No, you can come this way. Come this way, honey. Okay, you're going to go that way? Here, go this way. Oh, be careful. There you go. My Rottweiler Raven, she gets hot in this room with the fireplace, so she's going to go lie down. And no, Raven, don't touch that. Come on, over here. Come on. Raven, come on. She's in my wires here. Just a sec. Good girl. Okay, what was I saying? excuse me. Oh yeah, the ambulance technician had a kindling cracker, and he's like, okay, what you need to do is you need to, there are 2 holes on either side. I wish I could show you, it's back there. He said, get a piece of like an old trunk of wood. I know somebody who can bring one over to me because he cuts his own wood and stuff like that. So he's got a lot of stumps. He brought me one a couple 5 years ago, but it's all mangled up now because I chopped it. But he can bring me one over. He said, screw it in so it doesn't move. He said maybe the problem was that it moved and you tried to grab the wood without thinking, and then the sledgehammer came down. So that's one thing that I'm going to do. But I haven't assembled the wood splitter yet. I was going to do that this weekend, but so I would like to get a small kindling splitter, but I haven't found one in Canada yet. So I'm not sure where to find one. If you have any suggestions on an electronic or electric or hydraulic kindling splitter, that's what I really need. So Heather says, I have to run. Take care, everybody. Oh, bye, Heather. Take care. Thank you for joining. And oh, hey, Allison's here. Allison, are you ready? Allison. I always sing that song. It's a Elvis Costello song. I love it. Just arriving, making lunch, back to the beginning so I don't miss anything. Happy Sunday. Oh, well, I broke my finger. If you have any questions, ask away. But I have to see a plastic surgeon this week because it's completely shattered. I broke it splitting wood with a sledgehammer. Ouch. All right. I'm going to continue with our lesson of the day. So I'm going to find the next thing to share with you. Okay, let's see here. Oh, well, first, I was reading this really interesting article in Science News Today about kindness and the health benefits of kindness, because if we're kind, it really affects our health in a good way. Oxytocin, it's often called the love hormone. It's known to be released during social bonding, like hugging. You know, when you're hugging or you're feeling affection or even petting your dog, you release oxytocin in both yourself and the person who's receiving your affection. So oxytocin is also released during acts of kindness, according to science. So whether you're giving or receiving kindness, it reduces stress by lowering cortisol levels, and it promotes a feeling of trust and connection. And it even improves cardiovascular health by dilating the blood vessels and lowering blood pressure. Isn't that something? It lowers your blood pressure when you're kind. I love that. And science can prove it. So studies have found that people who engage in daily small acts of kindness report lower levels of stress and anxiety as well, which is good. Even if you're witnessing an act of kindness, this, as simple as watching another stranger being kind to another stranger, it can reduce stress hormones in people who observe that act of kindness. And I think that's really cool. And I'm going to share another screen with you. It might go black for just a second because that's what happens. Okay, I wanted to show this to you because I thought this was really, really cool. Oxytocin released during kindness lowers blood pressure, earning it the nickname of cardioprotective hormone. Acts of kindness also stimulate the vagus nerve, which regulates the heart rate and contributes to a self sense of calm. Isn't that cool? I love that. And I'm going to share another fact with you here that I found in the same article. And I completely agree with this that I'm about to show you here because it was my experience this last week. Okay, there it is. Patients in hospitals who receive kindness from doctors, nurses, family, or even strangers report less pain, recover faster, and experience greater well-being. Healing is not only about medicine, but also about the environment of care and compassion. And I got to tell you, I totally agree with this because, you know, there was a time frame of about an hour and a half there while I was sitting in that bed where nobody came to check on me because they were busy. And I was sitting there alone. I was feeling very anxious and I had a lot of pain in my finger and I was crying and I was in distress. It was awful. And the medical staff noticed. there was a window in front of me. The nursing station was there, and one of the windows was open, not like open, but there was no blind on it. And they came to see me, and I started to feel better, and I started to feel more confident and more safe. And also, I noticed that the pain in my hand wasn't as bad as it was. So, you know, acts of kindness are just always so, so important. Let me unshare this screen now. There we go. So, yeah, Hannah says, not exactly broken, more shattered, right? Well, you see, that's the thing. I don't know. I have to wait and talk to the plastic surgeon. He said it was fractured in 3 places, but I know the force that came down on that sledgehammer, and I don't know if my finger was up like this or on the side. I don't know how bad the damage is, but I'm gonna find out. I mean, I don't know, and I think I don't wanna know, but I have to be responsible and find out anyway, right? But I'll find out this week, and you guys will know next Sunday. I'll let you know for sure. Um, oh yeah, another thing that was mentioned in that article, that science article, was that kindness is like a muscle. It strengthens with practice. If you follow a daily habit of expressing gratitude, for example, offering compliments and smiling at people, saying hello, thank you, opening the door for someone, leaving a thoughtful message for a friend, allowing yourself to be a shoulder to cry on or an ear to listen, and not, solving someone's problem, just being there to listen, to let them vent. Habit. And when you have habits that are rewarding to you, you start looking forward to them. It's just like a bad habit, if you're, I don't know, if you're drinking too much, eventually your brain starts to want you to drink so that it can feel that reward because you feel good after you drink. So bad habits, just the same as good habits, can become a habit that you look forward to. But it's important to note, that your kindness has to be authentic. If it's insincere, first of all, you're not going to release the oxytocin, definitely. And at some point, people will really start to notice how insincere you are and that your kindness is really only self serving. So, we're talking about authentic kindness. So, maybe the message today is to consider how you can spread a little more kindness in the world, starting with yourself. That's the message for today. So, my friends, we've been talking for just over an hour now, and I have to say, I'm in a little pain right now, so I have to go pop some Advils and some Tylenols alternately, not at the same time, though I wish I could. I wish I could take them all at the same time. Um, and I'm going to relax for the rest of the day because it's been something. It's been really stressful, and the amount of pain is I can't even describe the pain. I mean, I've had dental infections before, and that was something else. But this pain, especially when I got the needles in my fingers, that was something else too. Anyway, I am going to say goodbye for today. Thank you so much for being here, my friends. Really, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I wasn't sure that I was going to do gratitude hour today, but then I thought, no, you know what? I want to. I don't want to let this stop me. It's painful, yes, but I don't want to let it stop me. And I'm just noticing I've got to put more wood into my fire. So be well, my friends. Sending you lots and lots of love. And I guess I'll see you next time on Gratitude Hour. Take care, my friends. I'm going to end the stream now. Sending lots of love. I'll keep you updated next week, maybe in the posts, the community posts. I've got some videos that I had pre-recorded where you're going to see me going like this, and you're not going to see this on it, especially on my other channels, the kitchen and garden channel. I made videos that will last me all the way to May, so you're not even going to see my broken finger on that channel. On the kids channel, the kids art channel, I have 2 more videos that are coming out, but on this channel, I only have 1. So I have another one that I recorded, but my hand is down here and you can't see it. So you might notice that. But thanks for all of your support today and your kind words, my friends. It really means a lot. Oh, love you too, sis. I will try to get lots of rest. I think I'm just going to watch some funny movies tonight just to distract myself. Oh, I'm making some soup tonight. Have you guys ever had mulligatawny soup? It's an Indian curry soup. It's so good. I have a video coming up on that in a few weeks on my kitchen and garden channel. It's made with vegetables and usually chicken and rice. I omitted the rice and I made it with chicken and it's good, but I'm going to make it with fish tonight. It's going to be delicious. It's going to take some time to peel. That's another thing. Peeling carrots and potatoes with one hand is very challenging. Oh, you take care of yourself too, Hannah. Thank you so much. It's so nice seeing you again. Really nice seeing you again. It's been such a long time, since I've been regularly on YouTube, and it feels like home again. So I'm really happy to be here. So goodbye, everybody. Thanks for coming, Septina. Thanks for coming, Heather. Thanks for coming, Blackjack. Thanks for coming, Nick, and Hannah, and Allison. And did I forget anybody? I don't think I forgot anybody. I got everybody. Nick, did I see you? Okay, I'll see you next week, guys. Take care and have a great week. And please practice some kindness towards yourself and towards others. Tap, tap. Sending lots of love from my heart. Bye.